Today we are finishing chapter 1. So this is the last section we'll do before your notebook quiz and before your chapter test. So we have lots of stuff coming up relating to this material. Again, if you are missing any sections from chapter 1, you need to watch them on the YouTube videos. If you don't know how to access the YouTube videos, you need to ask me, and I can either describe how to do it, I can send you a text message through Remind, or I can email you a link to the video you're missing. But just sitting there and doing nothing is not going to get the notes in your notebook, and it's not going to help you pass the notebook quiz. So you got to do something if you're missing notes. Any questions? So today's notes are all about the distributive property. So our goal today is to simplify expressions using the distributive property. Everybody have it? Give you a second. Okay, so I'm going to actually show you 2 ways to simplify this. And then we're going to talk about what the distributive property is. So you don't need to write this down at all. I just want to show you something as kind of a neat trick. So order of operations wise, what would we do here? Parentheses. What is 5 plus 6? 11. So this would be 3 times 11, which is what? 33. Very good. Any questions on that one? Okay, I'm going to show you now another way to do it. Are you ready? This is the exciting part. I'm going to use the distributive property. The distributive property states if you have a number outside of parentheses and addition or subtraction inside of the parentheses, you can do the multiplication step first, as long as you multiply everything in the parentheses by the number that's out front. So what's 3 times 5? That would be 15. You keep the plus sign. What's 3 times 6? 18. And what's 15 plus 18? 33. Whoa. Who's excited? I am too. Great. Woo!
I heard you pounding.
I know. This is great. Now, typically, if I would give you this problem, you just do it the first way we did it. The order of operations way would be fine. But this way comes in handy when these two are not like terms. So if this was like 5x and this was 6, we couldn't add those because they're not like terms. But you could still multiply them both by the 3. So that's when we use the distributive property. If you can use the good old order of operations, just stick with that. This is just kind of to show you that this actually does work. You don't just have to take my word for it. Here's a little bit of proof for you. Any questions? All right, this is what I want you to write in your notes. So write down the big heading. This is what we're talking about today. The distributive property. So, the distributive property tells us just another way that we could rewrite this. So, B and C are not like terms, right? We can't just add them together. What we can do is multiply them both by the A. What is A times B?
Abs.
Abs, good. Ab. What is A times C? Just AC, very good. That's what the distributive property does. It's just a way to rewrite a problem like this. A number being multiplied by a set of parentheses with addition or subtraction on the inside. Now you could write it like that with parentheses, or a variable right next to another variable means multiplication. So either way is fine, whichever you prefer. But that's basically what we're doing today. Do you guys have any questions on what the distributive property is?
Other rules.
Yes. We'll get into those as we go. This gets very complicated when you introduce negative signs, so that's when we'll really start talking about what the specifics are. But like the general rule, any questions? Now, I will point out this only works if the sign in the parentheses is a plus or a minus. If this was like A times C, you couldn't do anything with it, okay? It has to be a plus or a minus inside. All right, let's look at some examples. If we're all done. Done? Okay. All right, here's the first one. So I have a 3 being multiplied by a set of parentheses. Inside the parentheses is x plus 2.
Have that to do.
Okay.
Yes. So, a good point was just brought up. There's no number in front of the x. So if I had to assign a number with the x, what would it be?
5.
Wait, 5? Where'd you get a 5?
It's 3 plus 2.
Oh, no, Ben. What we need to do is just put a 1 in front of the x. If there's no number with the x, it's like having an imaginary 1 in front of it. Okay? Now, the distributive property tells me that I can do what? Add. Multiply. So I need to do 3 times 1x. I'm actually just going to write it out. 3 times 1x. Keep your plus sign. Then I multiply the 3 times 2. Now let's clean things up. What is 3 times 1x? 3x. Very good. What is 3 times 2? 6. Great. Now, for today, I want you to practice doing this step. But on your quiz or your test, you can go straight from here to here once you get good at it. For now, we're going to write it out, though, just so we're practicing what's going on. What are your questions with the distributive property? Now, can I add those and make it like a magical 9x? No, that is the most common mistake I see with the distributive property. Students don't know when to stop, okay? When you don't have any more like terms, that's when you stop. So stop. Questions? All right, let's look at another one. Oh, we're getting some negative signs. Exciting stuff. Okay, how do I start this one? Yes, ma'am. Yes, we're going to multiply negative 4 times the 2x. Keep your plus sign. Then I'm going to do what? Negative 4 times 5. This is where it gets tricky. What is negative 4 times 2x? Negative 8x. Plus, what is negative 4 times 5? Negative 20. Very good. Now, if you stopped here, you would not be wrong, but you wouldn't be all the way right. Because what is minus a negative? Or, sorry, whoa. Yes, minus a negative is a positive. That's not what I meant to say. Very good, but, you know, answer what I mean, not what I say. What is plus a negative? Plus a negative is like what? Subtraction, right? So if you want to really clean this up, you do negative 8x minus 20. Again, the black answer on the board, I would not mark you wrong, but the green answer is the absolute most correct answer. So if you are, especially if you're planning on like taking algebra in college or continuing on with your math after this, I would practice this, getting in this habit. If you're like, my ultimate goal is to pass Algebra 3-4 and never take another algebra class, then you can stop here. This is fine. It's all kind of about where you're planning long-term to go with this stuff. I'm fine with this. Other math teachers would require you to get down to here. So it just kind of depends where you want to go. Okay, we don't have a coefficient with my x, so what do I know is there? A 1. If it helps you to write the 1 in, do it. If you don't need it, don't. It's really up to you. All right, how am I going to start this one? Okay, so 3 times 1x. Keep the minus sign. Then what? Well, I already wrote the minus sign, so do I need to write a negative? Yeah, once you write the minus sign, don't write it again. Okay, I'm just writing the minus sign, then dealing with the 3 and the 3. So I'll just write 3 times 3. Now we can simplify. What's 3 times 1x?
3.
And what is 3 times 3? 9. Very good. Who has a question? Who's excited? I am.
3x minus 9 is the answer.
Yes.
Is that a negative 9 or like a
I'm going to treat it like a subtraction sign. Okay, here's the trick. What is in the front? A negative. Let's come up with a number for that. Instead of just a negative, it's like a negative 1. So I'm going to sneak a 1 in there. Now, there's no number in front of the x. So that's like having a what? 1. So you got a 1 there, you got a 1 there. Sneak them in. Now you can start distributing. So I have negative 1 times 1x. Now, whatever sign is right here, just write it. Don't try to simplify it. Don't try to take care of it yet. Just write it down. I'm going to copy the negative, or sorry, the minus sign right here. Now take care of the numbers. You have a negative 1 times a 9. We already wrote this minus sign, so forget about it for now. Cover it up if you want. What is negative 1 times 9? That's what you need to write, and then we'll simplify it in a second. Okay, so let's go back and clean things up. Well, first, any questions from here? Notice I should have a negative 1 in both terms and the minus sign in the middle. Now you can clean it up. What's negative 1 times 1? Negative 1x. I still have the minus sign. What is negative 1 times 9? Negative 9. Should I leave it like this? No, because I have a minus a negative. What is minus a negative? Change it to an addition sign. Yes, very good. That is an acceptable answer. Another acceptable answer would be this. What is the difference?
There's no 1.
There's no 1. If your coefficient is 1 or negative 1, you don't need to write it. Keep the negative sign if it's negative 1. But if it's 1 or negative 1, you don't need it in your answer. You can if you want, not required. Either way. A lot happened here. What are your questions? Tricky, tricky, tricky. My advice to you is to write it out step by step and clean up all the signs at the end. Don't try to do it as you're going. All right, here's number 5. More negative signs. Gotta love them. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is just write out my multiplication. So what am I going to multiply first? Negative 5 times 3x. Don't even do it. Don't even type it in. Just write it out. Negative 5 times the 3x. What should I write next? The minus sign. Take care of the minus sign and then forget about it. Don't write it more than once. That's the most common mistake here. If you're thinking of it as a minus, then think of the 7 as a positive when you're doing the multiplication. Okay? You can't write negative signs just as many times as you want. You got to take care of it and then forget about it. Okay, so what should I be writing behind the minus sign? Negative 5 times 7. Any questions on what's on the board, especially related to the signs? All right, what is negative 5 times 3x? You're one step ahead of me. That's negative 15x. Then you have a minus. What's negative 5 times 7? Negative 35, right? And then there's one more thing we can clean up. You can change this to a plus sign. Good. So this is negative 15x plus 35. And now I need to know what your questions are. Okay, how do I start this one? 8 times 4x. Then what do I need? Minus sign. Then what? 8 times 3y. What is 8 times 4x? Very good. What is 8 times 3? And then we have a y, so 24y. Very good. Do you guys have any questions? There is lots of multiplication today. So if you have a calculator, that's wonderful. If not, I would try to locate a multiplication chart or just try to remember the multiplication tables from grade school. Honestly, that calculator is going to be so valuable. So if you still don't think you need one, go buy one. Questions? Whoa. I'm feeling scared.
It's 8 times 3.
Okay, if I needed a number with that negative sign in the front, what would it be?
1.
A 1. If I needed a number with the x, what would it be? A 1. So put some 1s in there. It's going to help you keep things straight. Now, what's the first thing I need to do? Yeah, negative 1 times negative 1x. What do I write right after that? The minus sign. You just drop the minus sign. Don't try to clean it up. Don't do anything fancy. Just write the minus sign. Then what? So I have a negative 1 multiplied by an 8. Alright, I'm going to pause there to just let you check out your signs because there is a lot going on the board right now. Okay, what is a negative 1 times a negative 1x? Positive 1x, right? I have a negative times a negative, so it becomes a positive. Then I have that blue subtraction sign. Then I have a negative 1 times a positive 8, which is what? Negative 8. There's one final thing I can do. Oh, are you trying to combine those? Uh-oh, one has an X, one doesn't. So that's not what we can do. We can clean up the first term, though. How can I write the 1X a little neater? Just leave it as an X. Good. And then I have a minus negative. Minus negative is the same thing as addition with a positive 8. So see how that blue step looks just a lot neater than the green one? So you can get rid of the 1, you can get rid of the minus, and you can get rid of the negative. Questions? Okay, I want you guys to write your own problem. Make up your own. Make sure you're using the distributive property. If you want to trade it with a partner, that's fine. If you just want to simplify your own, that's fine. I'll give you about 2 minutes, though, so you can write it and trade, or you can just write it and fix it on your own. Okay, would anyone like to share the problem with the class? Yes, ma'am. What do you got? 8x plus 2. Is that your answer or your problem? Do you have a parenthesis somewhere? Okay, there we go. Now it's a distributive problem. Good. How am I going to start this one? 8 times 1x. Good. Plus 8 times 2, which gives me 8 times 1x, which is 8x, plus sign, and then that gives me a 16. Very good. I agree with your work. Anyone else have one? Yes, ma'am. Bring it on. Okay, wow, this is going to be a good one. Okay, so what should I do first? Multiply like that? So 3 times 2x. We have our minus sign, and then 3 times x. Yep, you can make that a 1x. Very good. Now, what is 3 times 2x? 6x. Then we have a minus. What's 3 times 1x? 3x. Good. Now, normally we'd be done here, but what is special about this problem? They're both x's, right? We call these what? Like terms. These are like terms, so you can actually take hers one step further and make it what? What's 6 minus 3? 3x. Good. Awesome. So mixing yesterday's and today's, I like it. Anyone else like dying to share their problem, or are you guys just ready for your homework? Ready for your homework. Okay, let's wrap things up. What's the distributive property?
You owe me $8 and I'm gonna add $8 more to it. What's it like doing instead of adding?
Yeah, it's a way to simplify expressions. If you have a number on the outside multiplied by some expression that you're adding or subtracting,
You got it?
that's when you use it. So we just answered both of the questions. And the way you do it is you multiply each term by the number in the front. Questions?
Tell your